Alright, welcome to Beth's first video, and coincidentally one of the first times I've ever filled out this form. This is our annualization worksheet. It's not something I do a lot of, so I'm relying on the folks here that do more of this to correct me if I give you any wrong information. Now, this worksheet is used to fill out the form 2210. It is saved under Client, Sample, Tax, and we complete this when we have a late payment penalty greater than a certain threshold, and I believe that last year Jeff had said that threshold was around $1,000 or so, and that would be kind of our basis for determining whether it is worth our time to go in and get all this information that we need to complete this worksheet. So the $1,000 is just kind of a benchmark. You're going to have to assess it for yourself on a client-by-client basis, whether it's worth it. So to kind of get started, the IRS assumes that folks earn their money rather evenly throughout the year. And if they're underpaid, they may assess a penalty for that based on the assumption that they have earned their money evenly throughout the year. But we have several clients that don't earn very evenly throughout the year. Construction contractors are a really good example. But other industries that might fall into this are folks that are heavily reliant on the tourist trade, or maybe some greenhouse growers. Those kind of things would lead to having uneven income spikes during the year. And in the of some of our contractors, maybe even they have losses in the first part of the year, and they make most of their income in the last part of the year. So to get started, you would open up this worksheet, you would put in your client name, your client number, and your tax year, and then you would save it to your client file, of course, and you would get this guy's information in here. Now, Joe Schmo earns a pretty good living, and he made over $1.3 million last year, pretty healthy income tax. And the first thing we do is we back off the PFD, because we all know that that's earned in the very last part of the year. And then we would start making adjustments for other income that may be earned unevenly throughout the year. And in Joe's case, he just has one K1 from Big Boy, and he does very well with it. So here's our AGI, here's our PFD, here's our K1, and what falls out, if you put this in as a negative amount, we need to back it out. Apologies. What falls out should be basically all the other income. And in Joe's case, this is his W-2 wages. Now this takes that other income and it kind of gives us a monthly figure for it. And I haven't messed with the sample at all. Jeff set this up last year, and what he's done is he's kind of broken it up into 3, 2, 3, 4 as far as an earning pattern for the rest of the income. And you can kind of see that flowing through with 3, 2, 3, and here's the rest. Okay, the next thing you need is to have your data, however you're going to break it up. And in this case, this client had QuickBooks, and we were able to real easily figure out what his income pattern was. Some of our clients might not have it. Maybe if they're in Master Builder, you could probably generate the reports, or you might have to ask for it. So, as many of our contractors do, this client had some losses in the early parts of the year, and then later on, he started making some money, and at the very end, he made most of his income. Now, if you've got all your data entered properly, this should sum to 0. This is just kind of a check figure to make sure that you've got everything allocated and you've not allocated anything extra that you shouldn't. And after you've got all this completed and kind of checked and made sure it's summed to 0, you're going to come over to your individual return. And I'm going to try and make that transition without making anybody too nauseous. Speaking to the pregnant women here, so if you feel sick, look away. Beth's pretty new at this. Okay, So now we're looking at his income tax return. You can see his K-1 coming through and his W-2 wages. And you can also see that he has a very healthy penalty going on. That's because Joe Schmo does not believe in paying taxes at all, as you can see here. This is a film where we are allowed to have a little bit of dramatic effect. So once you've got all your data, you're going to come into T4, and the first thing you're going to do is check the box. Let's see here, let me get this right. And 31, and we're going to tell the system that we are going to do some annualization. And in here we're just going to drop the numbers that we had in the other worksheet. Just going to try and do it correctly. Kind of hampered a little bit by the fact I'm holding a camera and by the fact that I've turned my office light on to make it a little bit brighter. So I can't see real well, but hopefully you can. Alright, now I've got all my numbers in. It is income pattern set. I've got my box 31. Check to tell it that these are actual amounts, not exceptional items. Although if there was an exceptional item, you could put it in there. I think I've seen this done when somebody has a long-term capital gain at the very end of the year. You can see there are different spots for those. Itemized deductions is another example. And I'm going to hit our return summary. And here's our original calculation. And there you go. He went from owing $9,300 down to owing $3,100, of course, plus our tax bill. But we've saved our client just over $6,000 with a couple of clicks and our time. And let's take a quick look. And I'm just going to show you the form. You can see over the top of my camera. And here we go. This is what the Form 2210 looks like. It's got some of the information from the return. It's going to give you your tax after credits. And over here, it's going to give you your required installments, and then, of course, it's going to give you the penalty. It's also got an attached worksheet that's included, and here's the information. And it calculates a penalty here and here. You can see there's nothing. That's because he had losses in the first part of the year. And then here, all the penalty is calculating. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, let's see. Probably want to ask somebody who might do this more often than I do. And who would that be? Oh, Mr. Richards. Look at that. He probably does a lot of these. He might be a good candidate. Thank you very much.